Hey TJ, what's going on? I'm Chandler.
Hey TJ, what's going on? I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports.
And I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports.
Welcome to a special edition of this all crazy sports newscast.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler with Sports and this is the Sport Report.
Chandler with Sports is how he wants to go. With is his middle name, Sports his last name.
I want to get you out the door with every result from every league in under 15 minutes so that you're more informed about what's going on in the world of sports. With that in mind, here we go. Hit it, Blaze.
This is the Sport Report.
Wednesday, January 22nd, 2020.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler with Sports and this is the Sport Report. Before we jump into the results from yesterday, let's catch up on the top story of the night. This is top of the order.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
It's showtime! It's party time!
This is top of the order.
Our top story comes from Cooperstown, New York, where two new members of baseball's Hall of Fame were announced to the general public. Derek Jeter finished one vote shy of a unanimous selection to the Hall, but there is always that one voter who decided not to put the captain in. There is no word on whether his identity will be made public at any given point in time, probably for the best. There was a second member who'd been waiting 10 years to get in, and that's Canadian Larry Walker. Walker has been called by some as the best five-tool player in the last 40 years. To be honest, he is. A five-tool player is someone who can have a high batting average, hit for power, runs well, throws well, and fields well. And Larry Walker did all of that as a player. The lefty had a 17-year career with multiple franchises in the majors, mostly with the Colorado Rockies, where Coors Field has been considered a hitter's ballpark, and voters don't really like that, in all honesty. But when you're on your final year of eligibility, they do like that. Tim Raines and Edgar Martinez are the other two players to be on their final year of eligibility and get into the Hall within the last 4 years. Over 17 years of Larry Walker's career, he hit .313, had 383 home runs, was a five-time All-Star, won the National League MVP in '97, and was a three-time National League batting champion in 1998, 1999, and 2001. He also won 7 Gold Gloves as one of the league's best outfielders. One other note on Larry Walker, he was a part of the Blake Street Bombers, not the Bronx Bombers, the Blake Street Bombers, alongside Andres Galarraga, Dante Bichette, and Vinny Castilla. Those 4 players wreaked havoc on opposing pitching staffs, and John Smoltz once called those 4 the hardest 4 in any lineup he'd ever faced. Larry Walker and Derek Jeter into Cooperstown during an induction ceremony in July. In addition to the call to the Hall, there were other sports going on around the country. We're going to hop, skip, and jump around those leagues, starting in the National Basketball Association, where one game was on the calendar. The LA Clippers defeat the Dallas Mavericks 110-107. Luka Doncic had 36 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, falling an assist shy of a triple-double in his efforts as his Mavs lose by 3 to Kawhi Leonard and company. Leonard had 36 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists for the Clips. Not only was there pro basketball, but there was some college basketball. Some notable results from the college basketball world. Kansas defeats Kansas State 81-60. The third-ranked Jayhawks got into a fight with the unranked Wildcats after the game. A block turned into a feud, and then it turned into a brawl, and it turned into coaches having to issue apologies on behalf of their players. Kentucky 89-79 winners over Georgia. It was close for the majority of the game, but Kentucky pulled away late at Rupp. LSU wins 84-82 over Florida. Florida tried to come back late in the game, but LSU remains the only unbeaten SEC team in conference play. Unranked TCU defeats 18th ranked and defending national runner-up Texas Tech 65-54. And finally, 9th ranked Villanova defeats 13th ranked Butler 76-61. There was also some Premier League football on hand, and there will be some more Premier League football later today. 6 matches, including Everton blowing a 2-goal lead in stoppage time to Newcastle United, 2-2 draw at Goodison. Chelsea a 2-2 draw at Stamford Bridge to 10-man Arsenal. And finally, a late goal at Villa Park gives Aston Villa a 2-1 win over Watford in a relegation 6-pointer. For more coverage on football or soccer, depending on how you view it, visit matchday365.wordpress.com or the Matchday365 Twitter account. We'll be providing updates on football around the world mainly in the English Premier League. They'll also be able to provide more in-depth content than what the Sport Report will be able to cover in a 15-minute podcast. And you might hear a familiar voice on one of the podcasts in the near future. Stay tuned for that. Finally, we head to the Ice 5 games on the hockey calendar. Let's get to it.
The NHL regular season schedule includes 5 games.
Carolina Hurricanes 4, Winnipeg Jets 1. The Jets are on the first half of a back-to-back before the All-Star break. Justin Williams added 2 goals for Carolina in the 3-goal win. In a battle of New York Islanders 4, New York Rangers 2. Josh Bailey and Anders Lee had 2 goals, well, 1 for each of them, to help the Islanders get out to a 4-0 lead before the Rangers nearly made it a ball game or a game on the ice, depending on how you want to view it, and it was 4-2 in the end at the Garden. In a battle of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia Flyers 3, Pittsburgh Penguins 0. Brian Elliott did not allow a single goal for the Flyers, as the Penguins could only muster 19 shots on Elliott throughout the entire game. Florida Panthers 4, Chicago Blackhawks 3. After a 4-1 lead at the end of the second, the Blackhawks added 2 in the third. Patrick Kane included his 25th goal as the Blackhawks' third and final goal of the game. Finally, Boston Bruins 3, Vegas Golden Knights 2. David Krejci had a goal and an assist as the Bruins go into the All-Star break with an 8-point lead over Tampa Bay. Granted, the Lightning have 3 games in hand on Boston.
Now for the Australian Open.
You know, we said finally with hockey, but we forgot one thing. It's a late addition. Coco Gauff heads to the 3rd round at the Australian Open in Melbourne. She'll take on Naomi Osaka in the 3rd round in 2 days' time.
That's the Sport Report for
Wednesday, January 22nd, 2020. We apologize for missing most of the sports news over the last few months, and we'll have a full explanation on this in due time. We're still figuring out some licensing agreements, we're still figuring out some partnerships, but the Sport Report will be back in the first half of 2020. For now, if you want some more soccer updates, I'm helping out Matchday 365 for more in-depth content, but the Sport Report will still be back in addition to Matchday 365. We thank you for your continued support. And now, I wish you all a very pleasant Wednesday, wherever you may be.
This podcast is copyrighted by the Sport Report for viewers to understand sports from a news reporting basis. Any other use of this podcast, Sport Report logos, or anything associated with this podcast without the express written consent of Channel One Sports is strictly prohibited.